Speaking of caring, though, my movie that I picked this week, of course, that being Kaguya Hime no Monogatari, aka The Tale of Princess Kaguya, a 2013 film by Studio Ghibli. This is, of course, as the title implies, the tale of Princess Kaguya, which is some fucking chick that came from the moon that grew up in a beanstalk, not a beanstalk, a fucking bamboo shoot. I don't know why I keep saying beanstalk. I said it like 3 times today. I don't know why. And yeah, she just she grows up really quickly, and then she kind of just gets forced to doing all sorts of stuff by her parents because they think it's the will of the gods, and eventually she goes back to the moon accidentally in a moment of weakness, and then she gets taken. It's like a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
How exciting. What's your fun fact, Tanner?
Fun fact, this is the most expensive Japanese film ever produced, and I want you guys to guess real quick. What do you think the budget on this movie was that made it the most expensive Japanese film ever made?
$50 million.
I'm gonna go 15 million.
15? Shockingly enough, Jackson, you're very close. It was 49.3 million.
I'm fucking goated, dude. Yeah, just to speak here, I thought your fun fact was going to be the fact that this is all hand-drawn. Like, every single frame is an individually drawn piece of, physical media.
I mean, who cares?
Sure. That shit's fucking incredible, though. That's insane.
I mean, so was Snow White and the Seven Dwarves,
Yeah.
This shit's still a fucking work of art, though. This is an absolutely gorgeous movie to watch. Unsurprisingly, it's a fucking high-production Studio Ghibli piece.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be shocking. But yeah, this is a very different art style than the rest of theirs. And I think it works very well, given it is, supposed to be about some some super famous Japanese folklore tale. And I think it does a good job, representing that in this very unique art style.
Okay,
Yeah,
Tanner, go ahead, dude. Tell us about how you hate this fucking girl boss ass movie that's shitting on the traditions of the Eastern, hating on women or whatever the fuck.
I like how he's tripping over his words because even he doesn't know what he's trying to say. He's making no sense at all. He's just fumbling around. I think very well animated. Specifically that sequence where I guess she dreams herself running all the way back home. That shit is fucking sweet. My main 2 issues is one, pacing. This movie is too long. I went into it without checking how long it was, and I assumed, it's an anime, whatever, it'll be an hour and a half, and we get an hour in, and I'm like, man, can't wait to be done in a half hour or whatever. We felt we were man, this is taking forever. And so I check how much time is left. I'm like, oh my god, this is almost 2 hours and 20 minutes. What the fuck? This is something Dylan mentions in his review. I very much agree that after the hour mark, it fucking slows to a crawl, and I'm like, god, this is just taking way too much time. And also berate me all you want, I'm not a fan of the ending.
Why is that?
I want something with more closure.
I mean, I think personally I'm a big fan of the ending. I'm not going to address literally any of your other points right now because I guess we're going to talk about the ending now. Why not, right? I fuck with the ending a lot. Obviously, as I alluded to, and not even alluded to, I just literally said in my breakdown of it, this is a cautionary tale. It's not supposed to be a happy ending. This girl, in a moment of weakness, basically, honestly, you can kind of look at the ending as her literally fucking killing herself.
I was gonna say that.
It's literally the death of herself, and honestly, that really adds a lot to it because what are you if you have none of your memories and you're fucking basically gone? She had mentioned prior that if she was sold off basically to the prince, she would literally just fucking kill herself. And guess what she does? The prince fucking wraps his arms around her, and she fucking is so horrified by this that she literally immediately thinks that she wants to go back to the moon, and that immediately sets it off. And you can basically just look at that as her fucking killing herself in that moment, and the parents have to live with their actions. It's not supposed to be a good ending. It's fucked up because the parents, this is all of their actions, concluding in what you'd expect them to. They fucking pushed their daughter to the brink and basically made her leave Earth, aka, kill herself in the end. Yeah. Honestly, she regrets it. She's really sad about it. She loved her. She doesn't like most people do when they, they commit suicide, they immediately regret it. Or like if they like think about it, if somebody jumps off a bridge, the second they jump, they're like, holy shit, I should not have fucking done this. And I think that's exactly what happens. I think it's actually really even like more heartbreaking too, because she has like a few days, whatever, how long it is, to like really coalesce with the fact that she basically just fucking ended her own life. That shit's fucking heartbreaking. And personally, I think it makes the ending very well done, personally.
Yeah, and I mean, even just that scene where like they come down on the clouds and they're about to like wrap the fucking moon robe around her, and she's just like crying to her family. Just that entire part felt very tense, because it's just like some simple thing of, oh yeah, they're just gonna like put a fucking robe on her, but like every time they kind of like get close and she like screams, no, don't fucking do that shit, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it really adds to it too, because they're just so uncaring. Like, they don't give a fuck about her opinion of it, which, granted, it makes sense. The whole point of like the moon civilization, obviously this is something that really was touched on in the movie. It's kind of just like, if you know, Japanese lore thing is that the moon people do not like Earth, because the moon society is very pure. They're all like, they're super formal with everything, whereas Earth is like very unruly and gross, and they don't like it. They like their like rules and all that, so they look down on her. They don't want her down there like with the fucking heathens, basically. They don't give a fuck about her opinion as of any of this, because they're just taking back what's rightfully theirs, basically. Which like adds almost like a horror aspect of it. Like, it's just fucking it's fucked up, like the dichotomy. They're like super happy to get their daughter back, and she's just fucking horrified.
Okay, so with all that said, Tanner, you said that like your complaint with the ending was it didn't feel conclusive enough.
Yeah.
Like, what more would you have wanted from it? What about didn't feel very conclusive for you?
I guess I get what you guys are saying. To me, like, personally, I kind of am looking at the movie through the eyes of the parents. Like, I kind of see them as more the protagonists than the girl herself.
Yeah, that makes sense. She is the main piece of it, but a lot of this is kind of centered around the decisions of her father. She really doesn't have much agency throughout the entirety of the story.
Yeah.
Right. And so, coming from that perspective, I'm like, I don't think anything that's happening at the end really makes sense to the parents. Yeah, like, I don't think they get what's happening. This thing is coming down. You're from the moon. What? What?
I think they have a general idea. I mean, she fucking grew from a bamboo shoot. They know she's supernatural in nature. The old guy that named her alludes to the fact that she's from the moon. And then she literally also just, objectively tells them that she's from the moon and that she fucked up and says she wants to go back, and that them's the rules, which is why they post up again. So they know this is going to happen. I think they understand that. And they're still, they're still fucked up about it. There's nothing they can do. She did what's done, but
I guess. But also, like, my other thing is, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm suddenly thinking, oh, maybe this is a smart thing the movie did. Was it unreasonable of them to think that, like, trying to turn her into a princess and whatever was not the thing they're supposed to do? Which then gets, because like obviously the gold and the silks and whatever that got sent to them from heaven, now it's making me think, oh, okay, the moon people like intentionally sent that stuff as like sort of a machination to cause the events to unfold so that they could get her back eventually.
Yeah, I've seen both of those points talked to, and it really just could be either or. Obviously, they don't give you an explicit definition, but yeah, no, I honestly definitely subscribe to the fact that they probably were giving them those things just because they want to make her unhappy so that she goes back to them. But you could also just see it as like they respect her decision potentially, which is kind of unlike what you'd think they would. And they just wanted her to live a happy life down there anyways. They gave her the money and the robes to be happy. Like, when she first saw those robes, for example, when she got to the palace, she was fucking, super excited about them. And she would have been even more excited about them if she didn't have to abandon her entire life to get them. Like, they could have built a nice house out there in the countryside and lived peacefully, and she would have been totally happy. But alas, the dad took his visions of grandeur and his own ego too much into account, unfortunately.
I'm going to choose to believe this was all the machinations of the moon people, because that makes the story better to me.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, I definitely interpret it more so as just, the moon people, they fucking hate the Earthlings. They're like, these people are fucking less than dirt. So they just want her to, like, be able to live, like, the best life she could while she was on Earth with, like, wealth and stuff like that.
Well, then it just kind of feels like...
I mean, this is an artsy-fartsy fucking movie. They don't give you a definitive answer. You can interpret it however you want. Nico likes it his way. You can like it your way. I think they're both valid, given they don't give you a yes or no.
Sure.
which is why I like these types of movies. You know, you can get a lot out of it. Like, this isn't like some expressively, you know, fucking black and white story. You can even, like, there's a lot of, you know, doubt you can cast on the dad. Like, there are, you know, societal norms, for example, that the father is trying to represent. Like, he thinks, you know, I feel like a lot of normal Japanese women might like, you know, specifically in this time, maybe not today, would like the fucking princess treatment. You know, they get to do all these things to be like some foreign princess. I don't know. I'm not in the shoes of this fucking Japanese woman way back then. But maybe they would have liked them. I don't know. Maybe he, like, in his mind, he thinks he's doing good for her. He thinks that he's giving her like a great life, but he's just, you know, not thinking about it. He's too, you know, up in his own ego. I like that. I like it. You know, there's a lot of depth to the relationships with the whole family. Like the mom too. I fucking love the mom. The mom's a goat.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that. I think that the dad will absolutely get a bad rap, and deservedly so. He isn't listening to her daughter and like what her wants and needs are. But I do think he is genuinely trying to do what he believes is the right thing here. Like he believes that, oh, this is like what the princess should have. This is like the wealth that like a woman like her needs to like possess, that sort of stuff. Yeah. And given like what we see, like the gifts that the moon people give to him, I think it makes sense that his frame of mind would be, okay, this is like what I need to do for her then at this point.
Yeah. And also, from his perspective, she's, you know, a couple years old.
Yeah.
Also, from his perspective, she really isn't, like, fighting back a crazy amount, too. Like, especially early on, we literally see, like, she fucking switches up, like, on the lessons, for example, and goes and, like, shows that she's the fucking goat in front of her dad. Presumably because she does still really like, you know, she loves and respects her family and, you know, her mom and dad for raising her, and she wants to make them happy as well, because she's just a good-natured person. So she wants to do what they want for her, which is why she doesn't really like fight back a ton throughout it until you know the later points where it starts to break and she fucking hates it and she's not subtle about it anymore. You know, she starts denying the suitors and stuff and going against norms.
Right, yeah.
Which I think are like her little rebellion before the breaking point.
Yeah, and like in fairness to the dad, he does like respect her decisions when she's like, no, I really don't want to fucking do this shit. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess so.
I will agree with Tanner's criticism. I definitely think the pacing of this movie is its biggest flaw. But it's really not that big of a flaw for me. Honestly, I was pretty engaged with it the entire time, but it certainly could cut out some fat. Like, I do think it's funny, though, on the like description of this movie all the time. A lot of it is just kind of about the suitors section of the movie.
Yeah.
Which definitely felt like a lesser part of it for me. I do like her, you know, reactions to these things, but I feel like a lot of the suitors thing could have been cut out a little bit. It wasn't like super integral to her character for the most part, outside of just, you know, setting up the fact that she's super wanted and that, you know, leads into the prince wanting her in the end. That makes it a bit more natural.
See, but like in the like descriptions of this movie, it like literally frames it as being about that portion of the story.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think that's just weird as fuck. I don't know why they do that. It's so dumb.
I'm wondering if in the original like fairy tale, like that is a much bigger role in it or something.
Yeah, that is like a lot of what it is. The original tale isn't like insanely long or anything like that, and this film does like generally just like play to like what that story is. I think the only like real big difference that there is between the two of them is that the Emperor is like a much more chill dude in that and doesn't give off the rapey vibes he does in this film.
The Emperor, honestly, I mean, like, he definitely pushed some boundaries, but, like, he's the fucking Emperor, so he probably is just used to it. I mean, granted, I'm not giving him fucking credit for that, but, like, still. But I do respect him for not immediately being like, yeah, you're mine, put her in a fucking cage and take her back. That was probably honestly, that's what I was expecting going into this shit. I was really surprised when he didn't immediately execute her or something afterwards.
Right.
Which, by the way, guys, speaking of, like, you know, the description for this film and stuff like that, like, I did watch a few reviews of this film going into this, and I was quite frankly baffled that none of them mentioned the best character in this entire film. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Is it the little attendant that's always got the little three mouth?
Yes, that's the one.
I love her. She's so fun. I'm such a big fan of her. Every fucking scene she was in, I was such a big fan. Her going in there and feeding her at the party, or fucking like trying to defend her at the very end. Like she's
dude. Yeah, when she's at the very end, she's got that big old spear and stuff.
Yeah, I fucking love her. She's so funny.
Yeah, she was amazing. I was a massive fan. She elevated this film greatly for me.
Yeah, I loved every scene she was in.
Yeah.
Nico, big question. Obviously, I already told you this. This movie absolutely made me cry. I wasn't like fucking like weeping or anything, but you know, I was tearing up at a few parts. So the ending scene specifically was the one that hit me the hardest, unsurprisingly. The scene with her running out of the fucking party. There's a couple other ones too when when her emotions were just like really on display, like her reactions to some of like the fucking suitors, for example. Definitely like, wow, that's fucked up. Did it make you tear up at any point?
It definitely made me a bit misty-eyed. It didn't make me, like, full-on tear up, though.
Look at this fucking hard-ass piece of shit. Anyways, do we have anything else to say? I think I'm out of talking points. I really liked this movie, personally.
Dude, I was just really shocked that dude was really just about to abandon his wife and child.
It'd be like that, you know? I mean, she's fucking hot, presumably. Like, she's a fucking... I mean, like, she's got the prince on his fucking hands and knees.
I'm not so sure that was the wisest decision of his still, though.
I mean, yeah, I think it's fucked up that he'd do that, but also, like, you know, this is a rural Japan. Maybe he'd probably presumably have both.
Okay, yeah, potentially. Yeah, I don't know how big into polygamy they were.
They were very big into polygamy.
Well, then never mind, I suppose.
They absolutely had harems.
What did Dylan think of polygamy?
What were your thoughts on the tale of Princess Kaguya?
Very interesting animation style. I didn't dislike it. I've just never seen a movie animated this way unless it was like a 2-minute video on YouTube. I think I made it about a third or a quarter of the way into the movie where my brain randomly was like, oh hey, Red Bull animation. And I had that thought pop up 2 or 3 more times throughout the movie.
Miyazaki is on his way to your house right now to strangle you for that one.
The fucking director of this is rolling in his grave currently.
There were some scenes in this movie that reminded me of a Red Bull commercial. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just because they have the fucking the framing style where there's like the whiteboard that kind of makes it look like you're looking at like a fucking linen painting in the middle.
Yeah,
they do that. That's what Red Bull does. So I get the connection, but that.
I don't know. It has nothing to do with the movie. It's just a weird connection my brain made. But I wish this movie was shorter. I was super into the movie at first for like the first maybe like hour, and then it started to lose me. And it's just because the way that they were telling the story got so elongated once they started like fully committing to being in the city, and then she started going through all these like presumable mood swings. Also, I'm assuming this was intentional. It kind of felt like they just forgot that she grew, like, exponentially, like, in a short period of time once she turned, like, 16 or some shit like that. I feel like she started aging normally, which might have been intentional.
I mean, we don't know anything about her biology. She was from the fucking moon and grew up in a beanstalk, or not a beanstalk, a fucking bamboo shoot. So presumably there's some mysticism at work here. Also, in fairness, potentially, once you reach like the 16-year-old kind of age with anime art styles, they kind of just look the fucking same until they're like 40.
That's fair, dude.
She could be a lot older than we think she is, potentially.
This movie was also a little frustrating, not because I was frustrated with the movie. I was frustrated with the character interactions in the movie, where it's just, you've got the classic setup of this person wants this other person to be something that they very clearly don't want to be. And that was like the entire, like, and I know that was like the premise of the entire movie, basically, but it was like the forefront of everything for like the last hour and a half of the movie. Which is fine. It was like showing rebellion and like how she was trying to live her life the best way that she thought, and that, you know, maybe trying to portray that she has a shorter time on this planet because maybe she's aging faster, so she's trying to explore these things and do everything she can. And I don't know if it's supposed to be interpreted this way, but I like how quickly she picks up on mannerisms and, like, lessons and, like, all these things, because maybe she has that, like, accelerated growth, so, like, maybe it's, like, an accelerated learning or whatever you want to call it, but, yeah, I liked a lot of the trippy moments, too. Like, there were just some moments where something happens and then we got time reversed, and then it didn't actually happen, but also still happened at the same time. I did feel really bad for the dude at the end who was like her childhood friend, which it's also kind of fucked too, because he like wanted to spend the rest of his life with her, but like also he was married with a kid, so like I don't know what the fuck. I didn't particularly enjoy that part for my own personal reasons. I
mean, his childhood friend disappears for years. I feel like it's pretty reasonable to go and, date somebody else.
I disagree.
Okay, yeah, you just wait your entire life for him to maybe show up. Also,
I felt that the ending left a lot on the table. Also, the whole, like, oh, if I put on the robe, I'll forget everything and all emotions will be gone. And then clearly that's also not the case. But also how anticlimactic the ending is as well. There was, like, almost... I can't say there was no resolution. It's just, like, I feel like I experienced her life and, like, the lesson she was trying to portray, but then none of that mattered in the end, because in the end, it all just went away, and nobody was the better for it. So...
What do you think the point of this movie is? Like, what were they trying to, like, what's the meaning behind this story? What's a lesson you could take, maybe?
I was kind of alluding to it earlier, but it was like when there are standards, or like people have a preconceived notion, and in this case it was when the dude found her in the bamboo shoot. He's like, oh, she's supposed to be a princess. So they raise her with the preconceived notions that she's going to be a princess, but like... It's like forcing a narrative on somebody just because you think you know what's right for them, when clearly everything about their person, their mentality, their emotions, their physicality, like everything says otherwise. So then she's kind of like straddling a line of trying to be what everybody wants her to be, but then also reverting back to, no, I want to live my life the way I want to because it's my life and I don't agree with what you guys have set for me. So, I don't know if that's, like, one consolidated thought, but, like, that's kind of what I was getting from this movie, in general. So, like I said, I thought the animation style was interesting. I liked the story it was telling for, like, the first hour, and then I got sick of it. This could have very easily been a half-hour movie, to be completely honest.
It's hard to disagree, but personally.
I thought it was... like I said, I very quickly lost interest after, like, the 1 hour mark. I did not enjoy the last half of it. But I could see the story and the narrative and the intention behind the art. So I do appreciate the movie for that reason.
Why do you think it ended in such a somber way?
Dude, if I knew... Like I said, I clearly didn't get it, because in my like description, I said it left a lot on the table. So like I clearly missed something. And given that I missed something, I don't think I could accurately tell you why it ended the way that it did.
I think you got the idea behind, what they were trying to, like, this is a cautionary tale that should be, like, the first most thought. Like, this is what not to do. The lesson you could take is Don't be like the fucking parents in this movie. Or specifically the dad. The mom was chill, but, like, he was very consistently ignoring her thoughts and emotions, and really just thinking about like what the heavens want rather than what she wants. And they fucking paid the price for it. They lost their daughter. She in a moment of weakness fucking gave up on them in this world and decided she wanted to go back to the moon, which of course she immediately regretted. But she still did it, and the parents fucking suffered for that. They lost their daughter. She lost who she was, basically, because she lost all her fucking memories. And I think especially like that look back, you mentioned that as like a criticism. I think that really just is trying to represent that she really did have so much love and compassion for the earth and her family that she had met, that she was even able to like overcome the fucking, the memory erasure from like the magic cloak or whatever. But the deed's still done. There's nothing she can go back from. It's just like a really somber cautionary tale. Yeah,
that's fair. I mean, I had that thought for a moment, but I didn't ponder on it long enough, clearly. But I can definitely see that. I think I had that thought, but like I said, I didn't expound on it, so it didn't become part of my...
You're like 80% there. You just needed to like think about why they were doing that.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see like it's, this is what you get for forcing your agenda onto something that, wasn't even yours in the first place. So, which, I believe that for everything. I don't think anybody should force, essentially pigeonhole people into things that they believe that or think that they are or should be. Like, sure, she enjoyed the life at first, but she still wanted to live her old life. She wanted to invite her friends. She didn't like the nobility. And for some reason, the father was just blind to all of this because he thinks that, oh, she'll come around to it eventually. But, you know, that's forcing people to being something that they want, and they'll just fake it to make you happy. But, you know, utterly in the end, making themselves feel miserable because they did so, which was, you know, obviously in the end, like, she felt bad for leaving, but she kind of had to, but she didn't want to. So she was struggling emotionally, internally to figure out what she was going to do. But, yeah.
Any closing thoughts, or are you ready to give your rank?
I'm pretty sure that was my closing thought.
Holy shit, what's your rank then?
Hold on a second. I might need to change it. Give me a second. You know, I didn't give this movie enough credit. Also, looking at some of the movies here, it makes sense. I'm gonna give it an A-.
How exciting.
Thanks
for your reviews.
I originally gave it a B.
Based?
I'm glad my brief explanation of the ending upped it 2 ranks.
Well, like I said, also, talking about it out loud usually resolves, like, some of the conflict, so...
Yeah, it makes your brain start trying to piece together what's going on.
Sounds like he's pro.
I wanted to know what his rank of this movie was before I fucking jacked him up on it, presumably. Whoops.
You fucking fool.
I just wanted him to have, like, any basis of what was happening in this movie. Like, he was close to putting the piece together. He just needed, like, that final push to, like, make the connection.
I think, didn't he say that he was initially going to give it a B, but then after you guys talked, he decided to bump it up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think you're right, yeah. Okay. I guess I'll kick us off with a ranking then. Okay. I definitely agree. The pacing is a little slow. The concept of what this movie is pretty limited, I guess. I mean, it's just like adapting a folklore thing. I think it's very well done for the most part, but I'm not saying this is like some fucking masterpiece for me personally. I gave it an S-.
Okay.
I
think that this is the best Ghibli film we've seen thus far. It made me care a lot more than Spirited Away did, so I think I'm going to be giving it an A-.
Holy cow. Dylan also gave it an A-, and you know, Jackson, you successfully talked me up a bit. I was originally going to give it a B+, but I will be giving it an A-.
Whoa.
Got a bunch of fucking haters in the call with me right now. Holy shit.
I'm sorry.
And it lands at a flat A overall. How exciting.
Wow.
Fantastic.